Palpatine fails. Unable to turn Anakin to the dark side, the Chancellor still tries to destroy the Jedi. However, Anakin and his former apprentice, Ahsoka Tano, escape to Bombardia, leading Palpatine to send both Inquisitors and Bounty Hunters to finish the job. And we are back. It is time for episode number 3 in our Battle Report series. We've got some new and different lists today, maybe a little lower on the power curve, but trying out some different things, getting some units on the table that we haven't seen yet, and going for some fun concepts. So without further ado, let's take a look at the teams. To start out, let's look at the Hunters. This, I think, is a pretty fun list. I think it's obvious to see what the intent is here. Get a lot of wounds, get a lot of force refresh, going with the Bounty Hunters and CAD, the Inquisitors and the Grand Inquisitor, and then of course Payday with Aura. She can kind of be either one. While I think it's a fun list, I don't think it's necessarily a super good list for a couple of reasons. I think someone like Aura and Grand Inquisitor, not the best pieces. I think the Inquisitors, the whole Inquisitor package, especially without Vader for extra dice, is going to be tough to push damage through and actually get wounds. And without actually getting wounds, it's possible to just really run out of force too quickly. I think it's a list that kind of needs everything going right and clicking, and when it does, it's going to feel great. It's going to be rolling. It just doesn't have a ton of bodies with single body supports. Even with Inquisitorial Mandate, it's good for one objective, being kind of 1.5 bodies, but they can't split up and take multiple objectives. So for that reason, they're going to bring Sabotage Showdown as their objective. Another concern is not tons of out of activation mobility. CAD can sometimes jump, but not if he's within range 4 of the Defender. And then the Grand Inquisitor can move around in another Inquisitor support, kind of like moving 1.5 bodies, but outside of that, there isn't much, which could be a problem in that third struggle for Sabotage. If we swap over now to the Hunted, we've got some Jedi. As I say, I don't think the Hunters team is super strong, so I wanted to use this as an opportunity to try out some of the maybe more maligned units on the Republic side. Someone like Cody or Primary Ahsoka, I think, are units that might thrive a bit more with the release of Sabotage Showdown, whereas Cody, maybe doesn't have to move as much, and the advance that Ahsoka gets with the objectives being closer together could be more impactful. And in this game, it'll be especially important if the Inquisitors are getting a lot of wounds. Ahsoka will at least be able to respond to that. Try an Anakin, because why not? If we're kind of lowering the power level a bit, I don't think he's as good as Vader. If we're trying to optimize competitively, I almost went for 501st clones, but I just can't bring myself to do it. That's just too rough. So I went with ARF. So unfortunately, third straight appearance for them. And then I want to try out Sabe as a solo kind of operative without additional handmaidens. I think she can kind of feel like Rex a bit in this setup without being able to move a primary. This list doesn't have much for out of activation mobility. Basically, it's just Ahsoka moving around and that's it. So that could be a problem. It means you don't get to take as much advantage of scale on the commandos, so we will see how that goes. The Separatists did win the roll-off to get first player, so they're choosing the side with a bit better access to the terrain. CAD's going to go on the right side for a bit more verticality, and as far as the Republic goes, we're putting Ahsoka on their right, because it's a bit flatter on that side. The ingress is a bit better for her reactive. The battle card is Set the Charges, so we're going to get an extra dash when we use the Shatterpoint. Going first, the Hunters get the Grand Inquisitor, so he's not terrible. He can move a friend up, so taking a look, I think Fourth Sister's better because we can get her a bit further up and get her on the other side of the battlefield. Unfortunately, that ingress will not allow her to get to the midpoint, so we'll just hold her back. So at least we have someone contesting on the correct level, because Aura could not make it. So if she's moves too far, we'll lose that spot. Grand Inquisitor will dash himself up with the part of his tactic. He will take cover and then just move nestle himself right into those boxes. So that's going to be a nice secure location. At the end of his turn, he will flip, and he's on the correct level with this little split level setup we've got. So the Republic takes their back two, the Hunters are taking their back two, and then one of the midline. Grand Inquisitor is pretty durable, so he should be good there. And we get Ahsoka first. She's not in a great spot. She could potentially get range with a force speed advance. The angles aren't great for shoves, and Grand Inquisitor is pretty darn good at defending against Jedi. So I don't think that's very optimal. We'll spend one force to reserve her, and instead it is the Shatterpoint, which is spicy. And of course, I want to be looking at ways to get both things on the midline, and I think ARFs could potentially do that with the extra dash, maybe getting a shove, getting Grand Inquisitor off of where he is. So let's go for it. Let's be a little aggressive. It will put them in harm's way earlier, which isn't necessarily great, but a chance on Sabotage to take both midlines right away is pretty good. So the Shatterpoint free dash will go first. Then I don't think the take cover is going to get them close enough. So instead we'll go with the move action. One guy's going to go up the ladder, up to the top, and that will put him in range, which is nice. And his buddy is just going to come get range on the Grand Inquisitor. Yeah, easy enough. Should be good there. We've got an attack as well into Fourth Sister. That's going to be 7 on 6. And we get a good roll from the RF, but a good defense. Only one down the tree. Not too bad. We get a pin and a damage. That could mess her up a little bit. And then the real attack that we care about into the Grand Inquisitor. Not too bad. That's going to get 2 down the tree, which gets us that almighty shove and a pin. So we're going to get the Inquisitor off the objective, and then one more force for defensive maneuver will mean that we should get into range no problem on that objective. So the guy on the far side will go first. He'll use that defensive maneuver dash just to get to a bit more secure location, harder to shove off with those boxes. And there we go. We can't quite get to the flatbed part of the train, so we do get to range 2, but it's going to be on a lower level, a little easier for the opponent to take back. But Republic scores 4 and takes control of both midline objectives, which is good. In response, the Hunters are getting Aura Singh. Not necessarily the best. She could go maybe get a single shove, but they've got Steadfast. She's not going to be able to use Expendable Distraction on anyone, and she's probably not one-shotting the ARFs. Payday is not especially useful, because all she would get is a coordinated fire pin, or whatever it is the Inquisitors call it. But she can get onto the correct elevation of the train, so I think save the force, go with her, take the advance, and then she will attack the ARF down by the train. After the ARF get their extra expertise, then we're getting 2 down the tree, plus a damage for 4 damage, pin strain. And Aura's going to spend 1 force for hit and run, getting that reposition onto the back of the train. She's at the proper level, the ARF are not, so 1-0, she wins the objective. And the Hunters are starting a comeback. Now, I don't think it's good to go with Ahsoka here. She's in a worse spot because now she can't even really shove Aura away because she's blocking, or she's blocked by the Grand Inquisitor. So we will go off the top. And that's Anakin. Unfortunately, he's going to have not a super impactful activation here. He'll just have to advance to get some distance. Take cover because why not for the hunker? And then probably we'll just spend 1 force so that he can jump on up and be an extra body reinforcing this objective. So we'll swap over to the defensive Form 5 Shen stance at the end of the turn and be a little sad that we didn't get to swing our lightsaber. So we don't get to keep pushing the advantage by scoring 4 again, unfortunately, but secure that spot and get a nice 3 at the very least. For the Hunters, we get their own Shatterpoint. So this could be a useful thing. Taking a look at Cad, if we want to get him up. He can't flip it though, so I think instead we'll go with Fourth Sister. Shatterpoint move will remove her pin, then advance up, attack the ARF, and only a crit getting through with an extra damage, so 2 damage disarm. Not great. We can still salvage this though. We'll spend 1 force to force pull Anakin, yanking him down off of the raised area, which means it's going to be 1-1 up top, and Inquisitorial Mandate will allow her to win this objective. Grand Inquisitor would have loved to heal if she got the kill, but unfortunately not today. Scoring 4, that does bring the struggle tracker back to the middle, and both sides will get a momentum as the Hunted get Commandos. So not too bad, because with 2 bodies, they should be able to go take back their right side objective from Aura. So we'll start with an advance, both moving up. And then they will use their defensive maneuver to just both climb with scale. Unfortunately, since neither dashed, they will not get that sweet hunker token. But more important that they are both on the level they need to be. They're both contesting, both out of melee range with Aura. So we'll start with the front guy. And he is going to get just 1 crit through for 2 damage. Aura is pretty tanky with her crit mitigation. Commandos don't like that, so next attack we'll use Coordinated Fire Expose. Same result though, just 1 down the tree. That Coordinated Fire does wound the ARF, but that's intentional so that the opponent can't wound them themselves and get a bunch of good effects off. The Hunted will now draw Jango Fett, which should work out okay. He will advance on up and then take a shot at the Clone Commandos. Checking first if we're in capture wire range, and not yet, so we'll have to get a little closer, but we are in shooting range. He gets 3 crits through, which is going to be 5 damage down to 4, popping off a strain and getting a free jump. That jump will be enough to get us into range 3, so Jango's very happy about that. So we'll be able to spend 1 force for capture wire, pulling that Clone Commando off the train, giving them a pin, really messing them up with a pin and strain combo. Of course, if we leave it there, it's going to be 1-1, and that objective won't flip. We won't keep pushing our advantage, even if it costs some force, so we'll spend 1 to jump with Jango's jetpack. So it's 2-1 now, and flips over to the Hunters. They'll score 4, really controlling these midline objectives. They're feeling good. And Ahsoka not feeling as good. We'll probably keep her in reserve. Sabe comes up. So she's got to go towards Anakin is where she'll dash. So she doesn't want to go backwards. So getting some good movement on her tactical ability there. As I say, in this list, she's kind of like a selfish Rex. Very mobile, but only for herself in this instance. She'll then take a move action. We'll pay 1 force for the ARF to expose, and that will be enough. 4 damage is getting through on those 3 crits, plus a shove and a strain. Aura's going to get wounded. So very nice. She'll then spend a force, Sabe that is, to expose flank, which is really just climbing up, getting on that proper elevation, securing the objective. So momentum and scoring 3. The Republic's feeling decent. Cad is up next for the Separatists. He can't get to the far side, really. It'll just be too force intensive and a bit dicey. Might be even tough to kind of get a shot off, so he'll just advance up here. That's kind of why I wasn't using his special reactive, because the extra jumps weren't helping much. Instead of getting aggressive, he'll guard this back point so the ARF don't just activate and come steal it for free. And then while he's here, he might as well take a nice shot into Anakin, who is hunkered but beyond range 1, so just 1 extra die for him. Only to get through, but that is what we wanted. We get that all-important disarm on Anakin. Plus 3 damage isn't bad, and Cad will flip to needs no introduction for a bit more defense. Just 3 for the hunters, so this could be an opening for the hunted to get back into it, as they do draw ARF. So good thing Cad is backstopping that objective. By the train, there's not really space for that guy to climb up, so I think we're going to look at 4th Sister here. Take a move action. One will advance onto the center, kind of prepping for next round as well, and having a nice central fire support or coordinated fire body still. He'll take the attack, and he's going to get 2 through, which gets the pin, and more importantly, the shove, meaning the next guy gets to also attack at range, as 4th Sister gets bopped down to a lower level. So the plan is working. We'll take another shot, and this time 3 are going to get through. So putting through a bit more damage, another shove, and adding in a disarm. So remember, 4th Sister still has to activate again for her actual card, so she's going to have a bit of a rough activation, unless of course she's able to get a heal before then. So Republic will flip that objective and score 4 points. And they're starting to feel good about things once again, despite a little bit of a blip in the middle there. Next up, we've got one of the Inquisitor supports. It is 5th Brother. So I think we're going to go for a kill on those commandos, because if we wound them, then with the Grand Inquisitor identity, we'll be able to heal up 4th Sister right before she activates. So he'll start with an advance, he'll spend a force to force jump, and just choppity this commando. But he gets absolutely nothing through. A complete whiff, just 2 that are blocked. That is not going to be enough. Those commandos still live. No points flip, just 2 going for the hunters. And yikes. The hunted, they want to save Cody maybe until he can go after that left objective. So we'll go with Ahsoka instead. She'll have a pretty lackluster activation, just advancing up. I was thinking about healing the commandos here, but then had second thoughts because I don't think it's going to do all that much. So instead we'll just take cover and kind of get a bit more central in the board and get a hunker in case we get shot at, though we'll probably lose it before we have a chance to spend it. 4 more points though. The Republic is feeling great as 4th Sister activates, and because of that wound we also don't have force, so best she can really do is heal off the pin and then climb back onto this objective, which will win it with Inquisitorial Mandate. But that is about it. Getting 3 points, trying to salvage things, and this is why we saved Cody for the Republic. He will use 1 force to take or defensive maneuver up and get his hunker, which should put him within range 5 of 4th Sister. He'll just start by taking a shot, and not bad. He's getting 4 down the tree, which is going to be 6 damage, a pin, and a double shove. He didn't need all that much, but an unfocused shot putting 4 successes through is something you cannot complain about. Very good shooting from Cody. He will follow up on that second shove, which will put him in a bit better spot and put him within range 2 of Anakin. So that second action that he hasn't used, he will be able to heal that disarm, and 4th Sister uses her innate to get rid of the pin. The Republic will get the momentum from the wound, flip the objective, score 4, and win the struggle. Next up we need more time, so more dashes on the Shatterpoint. He'll wiggle about the middle. So here we've got Cad and Cody is our option with the ARF in the middle, or we've got Ahsoka and nothing. But it is a bit closer to the Hunter's forces. But I think we just can't start down 2-0, so we'll take the what we're seeing now is the far side of the board. So the objective where Cody is, but on the wrong level, and then the middle objective with that ARF, and then the back right objective from the hunter's perspective with CAD. Could have been a better draw, honestly, but it's not the worst, even though starting down 2-1, if the hunters can just consistently flip one, score 3. If both teams just trade back score 3, then the hunters will come out on top. And the first double is where CAD is sitting, so that's good. Though we draw CAD, we don't really want to go with him because we just want to sit where he is and secure that objective for us. So we'll spend one of our new forests that we just got back to reserve, and instead we get fourth sister. So fresh off of being wounded, she'll become injured, and she's probably just out of range to really go and attack that back objective, because I don't think she'll get to the ingress, but I don't think that's going to be enough. So instead, she will spend 2 force. We're really going through the force now. I don't love it. To climb up and then advance to the center. So whatever happens, she'll be able to take this objective away. But she'll at least swing her lights up into the ARF. 2 crits are going to get through, so not too bad. 2 damage and a pin. And then also with that shove, she'll be able to get the ARF off of the top part and follow up herself to kind of block that ingress point a bit, make it harder for the enemy to get a body on that middle objective and take it back. So that's going to be 3 for the hunters, but the hunted are also getting 1 objective in the back there with Cody to start things off. The double objective for the next round is going to be in the middle, and to start the fresh deck, the Republic gets their Shatterpoint. And you know me, I'm greedy. I want to take both of those enemy objectives with my Shatterpoint, and the ARFs are the ones to do it. So for the Shatterpoint dash, this guy will move after the guy up top burns the pin. So we've got the angle. We'll take an attack into fourth sister. 3 down the tree. That's going to be 3 damage, pin, shove, and expose. The most important part is that shove, getting her off of the objective, which is good. That was the most important part since that is the double objective. The guy will follow up a little bit. And since the first attack shoved fourth sister, it means that the next attack will be able to go into CAD, trying to shove him off, but just 1 down the tree. CAD is pretty good at defense, so a pin and a damage is all. So the ARF will use their second action to do a move. Since the guy was not engaged with CAD, he gets to do a full advance. Won't take the objective, but he'll make CAD not want to leave. And then the other guy will climb up top and flip the double. Would have been awesome if we could have gotten that shove on CAD and scored all the objectives. That would have been probably GG, but 3 at least keeps pace. Both teams get a momentum, and this is shaping up to be a proper battle. The back objective is going to be the double. Don't want to go with CAD, so instead we get Grand Inquisitor. He is pinned himself, but that shouldn't be too much of an issue. He'll use his tactic to remove it. The fourth sister is pinned, so he'll just choose her, remove that pin, remove his own pin on the tactic, and then take an advance up, throwing his lightsaber, and thank goodness he gets 1 success. That will be a damage and, most importantly, a shove. Getting the ARF off of the objective, and it is 2-1 down below. If that had not happened, then this would have been really bad for the hunters. But it did. They don't get the double. They just score 2. The double goes back to the same location as the hunted start their turn, and it is Sabe. That is a great draw. She will use her tactic to dash towards Ahsoka, staying outside range of the fourth sister, and then spending one force to expose flanks. Since she's not engaged, she will climb, going up the ingress. She ends at a higher location, so she gets that focus and sharpshooter. It'll be 9 dice and paying a force to expose CAD with the ARF. That'll be 4 getting through, which is going to be 4 damage. Shove, disarm, shove, pin. He's already pinned, so that'll just become an extra damage. And that is big, knocking CAD way off of the objective and making it so that he can't really just go again right away because he'll have kind of a rough turn. She'll follow up into the boxes. That should kind of create an opening there in case Ahsoka wants to come up the ladder. She'll flip the middle herself, and then this ARF who we set up the previous turn will flip that objective. So that is 4 for the hunted. After the hunters just scored 2, so that's pretty good. The double will be on this back objective. And, CAD could go, but again, he's only flipping that one objective. Checking out the other options here, someone like Django or Aura could be okay. Fifth brother, probably, he could get up there and chop up Sabe, which won't be great. I think the play here, we need to make a splash. And to do that, we need to kill that far ARF, the beyond range 4 of CAD, which means he could heal, jump with his reactive, and we take 2 objectives. And we draw Aura, so that is going to help us with our plan. She'll take an advance, which will give her line of sight on the ARF in question. She'll take an attack. That's 4 down the tree, which will be 7 damage with the bonus from expertise. Pin, strain, and double shove. That is exactly what we needed. That is feeling good. Aura will once again spend 1 force to hit and run, which will trigger before Ahsoka is able to come up. So she'll actually make use of that space that Sabe left. That was probably a mistake. Off screen, CAD will heal the pin and refresh to force. And then Ahsoka is able to do her identity response. She can't get into melee with Aura, so she could kind of go backwards a bit. There's no one really super worth healing. I think she'll just come and kind of hang out behind this crate here, leave her options open rather than getting engaged. Finally, the combat action is officially done, so CAD can use his own reactive. No one gets between me and my job. Spend a force and jump towards that ARF who defended, which means he can get to the top here. It's 1-0 since he's contesting against a wounded enemy, so that'll flip the double, and then Aura will actually flip the middle. It's 1-1 up top, but Inquisitorial Mandate will kick in since Fourth Sister is down below. So that's 3 points. Took a risk. That was by no means a guaranteed play, but it paid off. Back objectives double once again, and ARF are drawn. Now, they are wounded and injured, so if they activate now, at the end, they will poof out of existence, which means even if they try to get up on that middle objective, it won't stay that flipped for long. So I think we'll just pay 1 force to reserve them, maybe save them for a better, clearer solution. And instead we get Anakin, and that's not too bad because he kind of has his pickings as far as whether he wants to go for Aura or CAD to potentially trigger his identity. We think we'll go for CAD because it's a bit farther from the rest of the Hunter's forces. He'll spend 1 to jump and then unleash into Mr. Bane. Flipping to his Gemso stance, Anakin rolls 8 and gets 3 crits through, which is going to be 7 damage with a strain. CAD becomes wounded. That was an enemy primary, so heals galore. The commandos will heal both of their conditions. This ARF will heal 1 off of Anakin because they are within range 2. Anakin will heal 1 off of himself. And then Cody, Ahsoka, Sabe, they don't have anything to heal. So Anakin will then just take a move, get onto the objective, and flip it. So very good turn there. The middle objective is something the hunters already control, and the other guys, if we draw Django or Fifth Brother, they're probably not going to swing the objective, so I think the best play here is just Cad trying to get Anakin off, because he's not super defensive. As I say, Django could probably get there and capture wire Anakin, but he can't actually get the body on that objective to flip it, and Fifth Brother I don't think can get there. So Cad will activate. He will remove the disarm, focus punch, triggering the strain for 3 damage, but it is worth it. Roll from Cad, terrible from Anakin, that's a full tree. That will be 8 damage, heal, shove, pin, and jump. So knocking Anakin down a level. Cad will be able to heal back a bit of that damage he took from the strain, and Cad would also jump into a slightly more secure location. It's 1-0, flip the objective, scoring 3. We'll activate the ARF now to attack that double objective, and yeah, it's gonna be tough getting Aura off, but not impossible. There is a world where maybe we shove Aura off of the middle objective, Sabe stays there and takes, and then we shove Cad off of the double objective. Unlikely, but we can try it. So their first action will be a move. The guy at the bottom just getting central and getting that good angle on Aura, and then the other guy moving to still in contesting range, but outside melee range with Cad. So he'll start with a shot. Cad is a Giga Chad though and blocks everything, so nothing getting through, which means on the next attack we'll use Coordinated Assault from Sabe to dash her over to that double objective. So we'll outbody Cad 2-1. Means she's not on the middle. The down below guy will attack Aura. No crits for her to cancel, so sneaky getting around her expertise there, but only one gets through for a pin and a damage, so not getting that shove. We won't take the middle, but we will take the priority objective, keeping pressure on, and the ARF are removed. So 3 for the hunted. The hunters will draw off at the top, and they get Django, which should be just fine at this point because he's got a body there. He will move to just outside of melee with Anakin so that he can take a shot. So he is within range 2 of Aura as well, and within 3 of Sabe. So all that should, we'll see that come into play in a moment. The shot's good, 3 crits, but Anakin is able to turn one of them off and block it. So just 2, but that will be enough for 3 damage and a strain. By killing a primary, Django will heal 2, so he'll heal up Aura. And Cad will also heal 1, and a total of 4 forces getting refreshed. So that is a very nice. Ahsoka does get to then trigger her own identity, coming after Django, trying to mess him up. But unfortunately, nothing getting through on that 5 dice attack. His armor is just too good. So after regenning all the force, Django will spend 1 to capture wire Sabe, slapping a pin on her, and allowing Cad to capture that objective, and then he'll spend another force to jetpack up and body block that middle, really securing it. So that is 3, but I think the hunters are feeling a lot better now, having a secure grip on that middle, which is the double, and it's Ahsoka. Republic is not in a good spot to take that middle objective with Ahsoka or anyone else, so I think it's probably time to abandon ship on this one and just set things up. Which means she is engaged, so she will spend 1 force to force speed out of there, which turns into a dash, but then it will allow her to use her first action to climb up, and she will take a melee attack at Aura to try and start chipping into this stronghold that they've got on the center objective. And 2 successes will get through, which will be a damage, shove, and a jump. Not too bad, getting Aura off of the middle and getting Ahsoka into her place instead. And the ingress point itself, the ladder, is body blocked, so it'll be tough for other people to get up the ladder to contest there. So not too bad. Republic will just score 1, but they're mainly starting to set up for the next struggle at this point because it's a little too out of reach. The double is back where Cody is, and the hunters draw Fifth Brother. Now, he won't actually be able to do much in the objective game. He can't, the middle's already flipped. He can't get that double, and that won't end the struggle. And I think I'll start next struggle with him, pay 1 force to reserve, and get the Shatterpoint instead. Because what we can do here, the Grand Inquisitor can choose Fifth Brother, dash him up there so that he's going to be in a good spot, more central. Then Inquisitor will use his tactic dash on himself. And then he also gets the Shatterpoint tactic dash. So lots of free movement for the Grand Inquisitor here. So why not take an attack while we can? However, we're just getting 1 down the tree. Damage, shove. So what? The Inquisitor will use his second action to move to the ladder, going up, flipping the objective, scoring 4, and winning the struggle. I thought about the CAD objective, but he can't get far enough, so he'll just stay put, hold the line where he's at. Final struggle, we're going to have get to the hangar bay, more free dashes on Shatterpoints, and the line across the midline objectives is active. So, not terrible for the Republic, but, maybe kind of terrible. They're currently going to lose the one with Fifth Brother and the Commandos. They're going to lose the one with Ahsoka and Jango, but the open one is the double, and who are we going to get? Cody. That is a good pull because he can certainly get there. Jango is within 5 and contesting an active objective, so Cody will expose him. He's also within range 5 of the Clone Commandos, but instead of their damage, I think we'll just use Coordinated Assault to start moving Sabe into position. And then Cody will focus and attack to Jango, who gets a mad roll despite being exposed. 5 natty blocks out of 5. That leaves Cody just 2 down the tree, which, 3 damage and a pin is fine, but he's 1 away from that shove, so he's not able to shove Jango off, which means Fifth Brother will secure this objective for the Hunters, and because of, again, Inquisitorial Mandate, the Hunters will also take the middle objective because of that lack of shove. That is a terrible turn. The Hunted get 2 points, but they only secure 1 objective, and that is really bad. The good thing is, Fifth Brother now, he doesn't want to leave this objective because the Clone Commandos will take it back, and it is the double, so spend 1 force to jump, then focus, swing, good attack, getting through. That'll be 4 successes plus a damage down the tree, so shove, strain, free force repulse will get to, and 5 damage, which goes down to 4 for the wound. So we'll shove away those Clone Commandos with our force repulse, get them kind of out of position, which is nice. The wound refreshes 1 force, CAD heals 1, and Fourth Sister will heal 2, removing a damage and the expose. Ahsoka decides to stay where she is because she doesn't want to abandon this center objective. The double will stay up top on the train as we draw Clone Commandos, so that is not bad. Though they do not have the force available anymore to defensive maneuver, so they will just move action first. That gets 1 into contesting range. The other won't be able to get into contesting range, unfortunately. But as the lower guy attacks, Sabe will use Coordinated Assault, getting onto that flatbed. And the attack itself is pretty good. 3 down the tree is going to be 4 damage, down to 3 with a pin. And then the second guy will follow up. He is in melee, so just a punch. But it is a really good punch. That's going to be 4 down the tree, 7 damage down to 6, just enough for the wound. And the Republic will flip that objective back Fifth Brother did not go to the Django school of blocks, and it shows. My goodness. The double is on Cody, and the Hunters start the deck with Aura. She's not going to be able to displace Cody more than likely. She would kind of have to one-shot him. She can't take this other objective because Fifth Brother biffed it, so she will go in reserve for one force, and Fourth Sister comes up instead. She will have a bit better time. She will start by advancing and then spending 2 force to jump, taking her up the ingress into melee, removing Cody's hunker. Cody not the best in melee, hence why he tried to shoot Obi-Wan down from afar like a coward during Order 66. And there we go. Full tree from Fourth Sister. That is a disarm, pin, shove, and a free active ability, which she will use. She'll kind of knock Cody back away from her with the shove, which opens up space for him to then get pulled forward with her force pull, and he is off the level of the objective. She is on the correct level, 1-0, and on the wound, Ahsoka again will just stay where she is, because it's just a dash, and it will not help her win the objective, especially against Inquisitorial Mandate. The double is the one the Republic already controls, and Cody is the first guy up once again. So he goes back to injured instead of wounded and can remove one condition. He'll choose the disarm, taking a bit of a chance. He doesn't like attacking Django, so he'll expose and attack Fourth Sister. Focus, shoot. That's looking a bit better. 3 crits down the tree, plus 2 extra damage, so that's going to be 6 damage total with pin shove, knocking Fourth Sister off of the objective, so he will take control of it again. Would have been nice if Cody wasn't pinned, because then you could defensive maneuver and get back up top. And that is the double, so now we see the consequences of that, because Aura can just activate, and she'll easily be able to get up the ingress and take that objective no matter what happens. So she'll start by advancing towards Cody, staying out of melee. Taking a shot. She's just going to get 2 down the tree with an extra damage, so 4 damage. Make it 5th because of the repeated pin, and then a strain. She has to spend 2 force for hit and run, repositions up the ladder, and flips the priority objective, scoring 3 for the Empire. So we keep trading 3 back and forth. The center is going to be the priority, and the Republic goes with the Shatterpoint. That is big. So my thinking here is if we keep scoring 3 back and forth, it would be nice to move that struggle token 1 over. So let's try to do that with Anakin, because then it will just bounce back onto the middle and gain a lot of momentum. And he can probably get a kill on Django here. I will spend 1 to coordinated fire damage. For precisely this reason, Anakin just gets 2 down the tree. So that's going to be 5 damage, and that is enough. Investing 1 force up front saved us having to spend 3 to attack again. So that not only flips the middle objective, but pulling the struggle cube 1 extra means if we start scoring 3 back and forth, that the Republic will eventually win. So it's time for Fifth Brother. Him and the Clone Commandos will continue their blood feud, focus attack, and that's a full tree for Fifth Brother. So he will choose to expose, strain, shove, and he'll get a free force repulse. It's a total of 8 damage. Goes down to 7, which will be another wound. He'll force repulse Sabe away, but even without that, Inquisitorial Mandate would still win the objective for him. So, not too shabby at all. I mean, they weren't really going to score all 4 objectives, though only scoring 3 does give both players a momentum, and the Republic doesn't mind that at all. That was the goal with Anakin. The Commandos did get enough to get the reposition on their expertise, so they'll just get nice and central. And now that Django is wounded, Ahsoka could do a full advance with her innate, but she won't win it from Inquisitorial Mandate, so she'll just hold the center. But technically, before she makes that choice, Fourth Sister gets Inquisitor healing, she'll take off a damage, and the pin as Empire gets some momentum and scores 3. Now, the double is going to be back on the point, which is only guarded by Aura currently. And the Hunted get Clone Commandos, who can't do much. They could jump back up on that train, maybe, and pop the Inquisitor, but then they'll explode, and he'll just take back that point easily. So we'll spend 1 to reserve them, and instead we get Anakin. That is pretty good, because who is defending that point? A secondary. He will advance. That puts him in melee range, luckily, so he doesn't have to spend 2 force and jump. On his attack, he gets a buttload of expertise, 4 crits, Aura cancels 1. That's 3 down the tree for 7 damage and a strain. Wounding Aura. Anakin pulls the struggle tracker 1 towards him. Republic gets some momentum, scores 3, and wins the struggle and the game. That was a well-fought game. Happy to see a competitive struggle too, which hasn't happened in the first couple videos. And let's take a look back. From the side of the Hunters, it would have been nice to get some more wounds early. Maybe on that early Shatterpoint, I should have got Cad moving up the battlefield instead of Fourth Sister, but he wouldn't have been able to take that objective, so I'm not sure that was a mistake. From a table building perspective, I do think the boxes by the train car were a little too much, because that side of the table had better access to the proper elevation on that objective, so to also give them a very secure, hard-to-shove location with that backstop was probably overkill. As far as the Republic goes, I think the main mistake was just Sabe opening up space on that middle objective in Struggle 2, because instead of me being able to take advantage of it, enemy Matt was able to take advantage of it with Aura, and that probably lost Struggle 2 because it was impossible to take back the center after that. Looking at the teams, for the Hunters, as I kind of expected, when things were rolling, it was great. In the middle of Struggle 2, when Django was getting the kill, and I think Aura got a kill in there, they were refreshing all sorts of force, getting all their abilities off. It was great. But we saw, start of Struggle 1, they weren't really able to get those wounds, and it slowed them down at the end. I think if I want to make this list a little more competitive, the first place I'd look is probably Fourth Sister. Now, her Inquisitorial Mandate was actually pretty important with the crowding of that middle objective. It actually came into play quite a bit. However, I do think that putting Bounty Hunters in there instead would be good, just because they can be kind of force efficient, but if you have lots of force, if things are going well, they can also find ways to spend that, and if they get a kill, you get 2 force refresh, versus if an Inquisitor gets a kill, unless it's a Jedi, you're getting just the 1 force refresh. And it also gives you good ranged shoves and 2 bodies for objectives. From the Republic side, Cody and Ahsoka were really what we were wanting to see here on Sabato Showdown, and they weren't that impressive. Cody, I guess, maybe is skewed a bit, in my opinion, by the great defensive role from Django with the 5 natty blocks when exposed. But still, he needs to get 3 down his tree to get a shove, and that's just not something you can rely on. It was nice that he could mostly sit and focus, but I still don't think he was that great. Ahsoka maybe was a casualty of the elevation and ingress and how the map worked, so that her reactive, her identity was not that impactful, but also the fact that it's an advance and not a reposition meant that it turned into a dash a lot of the time, which also limited its effectiveness. I think Sabe did just fine as a lone operative, so that was good to see, and Anakin did really well. In fact, he earns our MVP for this game That back-to-back activation in Struggle 3 was huge for the Republic, and he was peak Anakin, I'd say. He was able to kill 2 secondaries and a primary, which is not bad. It was probably enough to make me reconsider and maybe look to fit him into some more lists coming up, though I do think that it's hard for him to get better than this game. As I say, this was probably peak Anakin, which I don't know if that's enough in a game where there's more out of activation movement and a bit stronger lists overall. So that's my thoughts. I do think it was a really fun game with some cool plays. I think back to that aura wound on the ARF in the middle of Struggle 2 with the CAD reactive and the hit and run. All pretty exciting stuff. So I'm happy with how that turned out, and I look forward to doing more of these in the future. So let me know what your thoughts were, and see you next time.